Welcome, ladies and gentlemen. We're here at Freaky Fast Broadcasting with the Underdog Racing League here at the Watkins Glen International Raceway here tonight for the Xfinity cars to do 25 laps here and really get down and dirty for sure. Is this a slick, hot racetrack here tonight at the Watkins Glen International Raceway? But the Underdog Racing League is always brought to you by Ultimate Siding and Gutter LLC, as they are the providing sponsor here at the league at the Underdog Xfinity Series. They have been a wonderful sponsor through all of their series here the past 2 seasons. Thank you to Ultimate Siding and Gutter LLC for being the sponsor here at the Underdog Racing League. But as we get into the action, I just gotta say tonight is going to be a wild race here. Road course action left and right. We're going to see who can tame this wild racetrack here at 107 degrees track tip. It's going to be very, very slick and tough to tame. But my name is Zach Hall. Joined alongside me here tonight is our producer, Robert Moyer Jr., as we're going to be calling the action here tonight at the Watkins Glen International Raceway. Robert, it's a pretty fun time here at the Underdog Racing League as always, but now we get to go left, right, and have some braking zones. It's going to be see who can tame this track, but man, it's been a wild season up to this point, but right now it's Mark Whitley leading that practice as we head into qualifying.
Oh, that is true. That is true, Zach. Welcome, everybody, here tonight, like Zach said, here to Underdog Racing League. And yeah, you're right, Zach. Going to go left, going to go right, up around the curves, turns. It's going to be fun to watch and see how these guys navigate, tonight's track here at Watkins Glen. New repaved track that you talked about earlier that, we were at another league that did this. They really redid this whole track and rescanned it there, Zach, here on iRacing. And they did a really fabulous job here with the turns, the curbs, and just how the car reacts going over them rumble strips.
Oh, it is beautiful. I think that's one thing we all could agree on. This track here has looked fantastic since the update. I mean, it was definitely one of the older, scans, as they would say here on iRacing from the past. And it's great now that they've got it updated and ready to go. But, second road course of the season here, Robert, and not the last either. We still got to go to that Daytona road course. That race is going to be a wild one because that starts the playoffs there. So we'll see who can master that road course track. But tonight, Watkins Glen, very much of a super speedway style type of road course. Very high speed. It's harder to get away from people, and that dirty air can play a huge factor even here too tonight as they're setting down their qualifying laps, trying to get that best track position available. But Cedric Hunter was our last winner at a road course at the Charlotte Roval. He qualified on pole and won that race, but him and Mark Whitley had a pretty fine duel in that race. I believe Mark Whitley took the lead early in the race, won the stage, and then Cedric got the win there later in the race, getting by him. So we can see that battle done again, but Jason Fensler looking pretty quick out there also from the practice times. Robert, I tell you what, it's a stacked field here tonight.
Most definitely, it's a stacked field here tonight. We're going to be looking at Mark Whitley, like you said. We got some other drivers out there we got to pay attention to. Like you said, Cedric Hunter's got to win at a road course. But you know what? Trevor is here tonight in that 25, and we know how he's a road ringer. Well, I wonder if we're going to see him, break out. This is his chance, Zach, going into the playoffs here very shortly. This is his time to get that win and solidify himself into the playoffs. And I do believe in any track that's coming up here, like you said, that we got the Daytona Road coming. But I believe this is the night that he has to have I think, I want to say a good run, but actually he needs to win. I think that's where his mindset is. I think that's where his goal is, of course, because he is good at road racing. So coming into something that you're good at, you know how to navigate around the track, you're pretty fast at it, you have a hard time not saying, I need to get a win, and especially with the season that guy has had so far. A win would just flip it completely around.
Oh, it totally would. Trevor Earhart, I mean, you got to think about it, too. I mean, coming from last season, perfect ending to last season. Hasn't gone as well this season. He's had, some good runs, but I think he's wanted a lot more out of them. And tonight could be the place where he turns that all kind of around. I mean, this track here, road course, it lets those guys who shine on those places have somewhere where they can build some momentum. We know Trevor definitely shines on road courses, multiple wins here in the past at the Underdog Racing League. But we've never done this Watkins Glen International Raceway, especially this scan, especially. So this is a fresh new race here. We'll get to see who can pull it off. But so far, it's Mark Willie up atop the board here in qualifying, as they do have 10 minutes here in this qualifying session, just due to it being a over a 1 minute lap. You need a little more time to get those laps in, but right now, still Mark Whitley atop the board. It's Nick Alves in second, Kevin Orlando Jr. third, Dylan Walterman in fourth, Parker Johnson fifth. As the times keep rolling in, we'll see what Jason Finsler puts down. He goes to the top of the board at 1:13.62. Jason Finsler trying to come back in a big way here in that 5 machine.
Yeah, that's a great lap for Jason Finsler. We'll see how that all plays out for him here, Zach, as we watch James Loveland. He's going to hop up into that third position right now, but I got my eye on Trevor right now. He is out there. He's running his lap, and we're going to see where he's going to put himself onto the board here as he's getting ready. Where did he go? And he disappeared. Oh, did he get a lap down?
I believe he towed, and he did. A 1:15.02. Yeah, so not the greatest lap there from Trevor Earhart tonight. He was looking for more for that, because definitely behind Parker Johnston, Walterman, Orlando, Alves, and Loveland. I imagine he'd want to be starting ahead of those group of drivers, as he was quicker in that practice session. Other drivers that were pretty quick in that practice session were Brandon Colley, Cedric Hunter. Not as quick as our top two, but they were very much in the similar boat, I would say, when it comes to pace. So Cedric Hunter able to put down the third fastest time as his time clicks across. Brandon Colley, we'll see what his is. Up the third for Brandon Colley, only less than a tenth off of Mark Whitley, and about 2/10 off of Jason Finsler. Brandon Colley bringing out the special lap there for the final one.
Yeah, I don't recall Brandon Colley being a road ringer. That's a good lap for him.
Hey, he learns from the best, Robert, as they say.
Oh, here we go. Here we go. Here we go, ladies and gentlemen, learning from Zach, because, Zach is the road ringer guy here at Cat 5. But, no, very true. He does learn from one of the best, man. You know how to get around these tracks. I've tried to learn and listen to you, and I didn't get it.
Hey, it's a tough thing to take up, for sure. This track is, not only very tough to do just because of the high-speed nature to this road course, but also this surface is very slick. It's it gets very, very hot, and I think we could even bring up our weather. It is a very hot ambient temperature. Like you don't see many times where we get 85 degrees ambient in these races, and man, you definitely see it here tonight, as it's 85 degrees clear, 105 degrees on that track temp, with a west wind of about 9 mile an hour with about 52% relative humidity. It's a hot, sticky, slick track here tonight, and we'll see who can, put down the best times. Robert Rader was a driver who was really good there in that 53 last season in the road courses. Ran really well at Coda. We'll see what he can produce, and it looks like also it looks like that's the 23. Yeah, Joey Steyer's there putting down his second lap.
Yeah, Joey Steyer's is out there right now trying to finish up, as we got about 3 minutes left of qualifying going on here, ladies and gentlemen. But yeah, I mean, so Zach, tonight with this new Paley Scan new track, we did see it in Stars and Stripes. They brought out the Cup Series Cup cars, the Gen 6s, not the new version of what we have now of today's cars. But we did see them going up through the S's, being very, very loose and very slip. Well, the cars just were very loose going up through there. Watching these Gen 6, these Xfinity cars, it looks like it's the same thing here. Like, going up through these S's, you really got to watch what you're doing. It's slipping and sliding. I don't know if we'll see if Robert Rader there. No, we're not going to be able to see it. But I seen Mark Whitley when he was doing his laps. He was really stepping that back end out. Now, I would assume that it's, one, because of the track temperature, and two, he's probably putting more into it than he needs to because it's qualifying. But do you think these guys are going to struggle coming up through the S's?
Oh, I think that is the number one spot, Robert. Actually, that that is the most tricky section of this entire racetrack, no doubt in my mind. You're trying to carry the most speed possible. You're trying to hold as much throttle down through those corners, but as you carry too much speed, you tend to slide. And when you slide, it's the most narrow part of the racetrack. There's many barriers right around each side, and it gets pretty sketchy and a pretty big moment. So these drivers are going to have to try to navigate that all night long. And it's something, if you see somebody sliding around as Raider, big slide into one there. Luckily, that's in qualifying there for him. So in qualifying's over technically for him. So no big issues. But the one thing with those S's is just how tricky and tough they are, and we'll see who can navigate the best through there. It's a place where you can make tire wear last a lot longer if you're able just to get through there without spinning those tires up. So it's definitely a wild place to be, but glad to say we got our secondary man tonight, or always man, actually, sorry, of Carl Puller up here in the booth with us.
Right.
Glad you could join us, Carl, and glad you got in here tonight, because we were worried that we weren't going to be able to get you in the spectator booth with us.
Oh, not only you, I was worried too. I didn't want to miss this race. Sitting here listening to you guys talk about Watkins Glen, the rescan. This has been super, super slick. But we're going to pop up the qualifying results right here. And of course, Jason Fensler taking that top spot. Mark Whitley in the 6th, taking the 2nd. Brandon Colley there in 3rd. The 13 of Cedric Hunter in 4th. The 56 James Loveland in 5th. Nick Alves sitting there in 6th. Kevin Orlando Jr. in 7th. And the 99 Dylan Walterman in 8th. We have Robert Rader in 9th. We saw that spin from him at the end of his session. And then Parker Johnson rounding out the top 10.
At the 11th position, it's going to be one of our road course swingers there, Trevor Earhart. Not the greatest qualifying spot for him, but 12th, it's going to be the 21 of Christopher Heights. 13th place going to be the 3 of Jacob Sekovich. Side by side with him, it's going to be the 23 of Joey Stiers. Next row, it's going to be the 38 of James Catrone, with the 84 of Cody Dorsey there starting in 16th. 17th and 18th on the last row of the grid, it's going to be Scott Kerberg and Thomas Stanley as that rounds out the grid here tonight.
And this is really interesting. You guys were hitting on it. This is a slick track. I've done some runs here actually really recently, last night, and Zach, I need to take some lessons from you too, because I can't get a handle on this thing. The S's are just really, really treacherous. The suspension likes to articulate out weird ways, and especially as you get to the top. If you're at full throttle, you're spinning those tires and wearing those tires out. So that is going to be key to watch all night long.
Oh, for sure. Rear tire wear, I think, is going to be the number one thing that affects these drivers as we sit here on the grid waiting for everybody to grid it up before we pull off to start this pace lap in this opening lap for our race. But yeah, it's really going to come down to those rear tires. The driver that you see sliding around the most is going to be the driver that is struggling the most at the end of these runs. It's going to be fun to watch who can position himself the best here. But man, I tell you what, Carl, we got 8 turns here tonight, but it's 8 turns of high speed, crazy action. And these Xfinity cars, one of the best road course cars, very hot and slick around here. These drivers are going to be holding on to it from start to finish here.
One thing I was seeing, Zach, and noticing is, yeah, that sliding that rear end out does wear those tires, but if you can get it out at that precise angle, that actually tends, in my opinion, seems to make it faster. So how do you balance saving those tires, staying on the track versus trying to keep fast and stay competitive, and especially for these cars up front, trying to keep that lead from everyone else behind you?
It is a tough ordeal. I've had my own times here where I've qualified on pole, and you are kind of in Jason Fensler's position where you want to go fast, but you don't want to go too fast. You can very easily in a road course go out there and really burn your stuff up trying to get away from everybody. Unless you feel very confident about driving as hard as possible and you know the tires are going to last underneath you, you always conserve a little bit as that leader. Just having that clean air, trying to make sure you get good runs off of each of these corners so nobody from behind can get that in that attacking position to try to make a move. So I tell you, Jason Fensler, he may be looking to try to bolt off, try to get as far as the lead out there as possible and, try to hold on to it. But I always feel at road courses, these places, you got to always have a little bit of saving in there. Only one stage tonight at lap 10. And I believe we don't throw cautions here at road courses. So it won't be a big factor here tonight. It's just going to be awarding points. So we'll see what they can do, Carl. They're coming down to the final 2 corners. Jason Fensler's going to have control. Mark Williams on the outside, Brandon Colley and Cedric Hunter. It's going to be a interesting race, nonetheless, to say.
Definitely interesting. Now, earlier we did race the Roval at Charlotte. They did throw a caution there for the stage break, so I don't see them doing anything different here. But fuel shouldn't be too much of an issue. And as we come out of turn 7, the right-hander to the front stretch, we're going to see that pace car dip down onto pit lane. And here we go. Green flag is waving, and away we go, racing at Watkins Glen International Raceway. Jason Fensler inside of Mark Willey, going down to the hard brake section of turn 1, shifting down. Oh, we see a little bit of lock up there from the 5, and there is the number 6 of Mark Whitley, able to pounce, ready to make the moves. They are side by side through the S's. Here we go, going up the hill through the S's in the final turn. Jason Fensler, the number 5, takes it. We see the 6 get a little squirrely there. We're going to see that all night long. And there is Jason Fensler with the pass. And here we go down the straightaway to the bus stop. Really hard brake session here. Down into third, down into second, through the curbs. They are going to be tearing up those curbs all night long. And it's such a precarious situation. Those curbs are really, really intense, and they tend to disrupt the car a lot if you're not prepared.
Got to be prepared for the curbs as they exit off the carousel. It's Mark Whitley with the big run here in the second position. Jason Fensler dives back to the right. Mark Whitley back left here. He tries to dive it up the braking zone. It's side by side again for the lead here on lap 1. Jason Fensler wide here on turn 7. It's going to give Cedric Hunter the run. It's going to give him second. Mark Whitley to the lead. Fensler from pole to third in 1 lap.
And that is one thing we're going to see, and a lot of drivers, both in real life and on the sim, are greatly appreciative of this rescan. Puts asphalt down there instead of grass and or gravel, so they can kind of get out there, use an extra bit of leeway, not mess up their car, and on top of that, not get squirrely and, you know, end up breaking the rest of the pack. But as you saw, that one little mistake in turn 6 cost Jason Fensler a couple of spots, and these two drivers of Mark Whitley and Cedric Hunter were able to take advantage of. So these guys, we're going to be able to watch that all night. I don't think that's going to be the only mistake from either of these drivers as we're watching them go through the bus stop one more time. Already clicking off these laps at about a minute 15, minute 20. This is going to be really fast, really quick racing as we see Mark Whitley go through the carousel all alone. They're really hugging that inside line, and as they go downhill after the carousel going into the turn 6 here, ooh, they're getting really wide. You got to be careful about those track limits. That is an incident point. Sometimes it's hard to judge, especially with this new repave. I do know turn 1 is definitely a scary area for those track incident points, so having to be aware of that. But as we're looking, we see the 0-1 of Brandon Cawley. He had a great qualifying lap, and he's just kind of settled there in 4th, not looking to do any kind of advancements or too much of that. But between him and the 5th place is James Loveland, there's about 3.7 seconds at the end of that lap. So already these 4 cars breaking away from the rest of the field.
4-car breakaway up front. James Loveland, like you said, even there trying to get away from Nick Alves, who has Kevin Orlando Jr. with Robert Rader right behind him. This battle here from 7th on back is wild here as we jump aboard with Robert Rader. You're going to see the 53 very loose here. So he's got to back it up. He's got Orlando Jr. and Alves directly ahead as they head down to the bus stop chicane, down through the gears as they hit the curbs. And like you said, those curbs can really upset the race car, but they are essential to get through that corner. If you don't use them, you're using way too much racetrack and too slow through there. So everybody tries to straight line across those curves, get the best exit possible as they head around the carousel. This corner very tricky, and now you, like you said, you got the asphalt runoffs that gives you the ability there to go forward. And look at this, now it's Trevor Earhart. He's up to the 10th position there, and now up to 9th past Parker Johnston. So 2 spots in the bag for Trevor Earhart, one of our best road course racers.
And Trevor Earhart did not get the qualifying lap that he really, really wanted. He did not want to start back as far back as he did, being 4th in points. He is 166 points out of 1st place behind Mark Whitley. Last week he did a decent job trying to make a dent in those points, but Mark Whitley actually lost about 30 points to Jason Fensler, Cedric Hunter after last week. He was about 81 points going into the race last week, and now he's only 52, so definitely wanting to keep that. And there's James Loveland as we're watching. He's kind of mired in about 5th position. Hasn't moved anywhere. We've mentioned he has about a 2.5 second gap between him and Brandon Colley there in 4th. James Loveland also looking to make some moves. He actually lost a spot to Robert Rader with Robert Rader on his hard streak these past couple of weeks, so he's about 184 points back. This race actually marks the halfway point of the season until at least the playoffs, which start about May. So these guys already looking to try and get their playoff hopes a little better of an outlook. But the 24, Nick Alves, he's sitting strong in 6th. He hasn't moved very much. The 5th, 6th, and 7th place cars of James Loveland, Nick Alves, and Kevin Orlando Jr. respectively haven't moved at all since qualifying and since the start of the race. So they're all just right now holding steady and just trying to get into a rhythm and hit all their marks.
That they are, and I tell you what, who's hitting their marks is got to give credit to the 13 machine of Cedric Hunter. He's running laps faster than he qualified. So learning on the fly, as they would say, as he's got up to second. He ran a 13:94 the time before, and this time was a 14:56, which is only a tenth slower than his qualifying lap on lap number 4. So just showing this 13 starting to figure it out. Remember in the Roval, he ran in second for majority of that race. So we're going to have to watch out. Does he get better as this race goes on? Because it's looking like this 13 very, very strong as the 6 tries to get away.
And we saw at the Roval where these guys, they re-sequenced each other really, really clean, but it was really tough racing. They were banging doors, banging fenders, bumping bumpers. So they're not afraid to really use these cars to kind of get into position. And it's in a sense, you almost have to shoulder your way into position with these cars just because of how loose they are on the track, how hot the temperature is. You just kind of swinging the wheel left and right because we're watching. It's the 01 of Brandon Colley is losing just a little bit more time to that lead pack. Jason Fensler falling back too. Those guys are about 2.5, 3 seconds behind the top 2 drivers. And so we're watching there, Brandon Colley making a move on the 5 of Jason Fensler. So good on him. Jason Fensler struggling here early at Watkins Glen.
Yeah, Fensler very much struggling, very fast in the qualifying session. And this is something we've seen in the past. He's been able to qualify on pole very much on regular base at these road courses, multiple poles for him, but just not the race pace. It seems as the race gets in there, he does not have the confidence to push these tires to be able to use them up. So he's lost ground now from 1st back to 4th, and Brandon Colley now up to that top 3 position as he drives away. Cedric Hunter is still about 10 car lengths back from the lead. This is looking nice for Brandon Colley. You look back here, look at this. Trevor Earhart's now finally got back up to the disc group as Raiders got by Nick Alves and Orlando Jr. Earhart going to be the next to try to get past this group as he's going to the inside there of Alves. He makes the pass down here into 7 as they head to 8. He's going to try to close this gap down and try to be there for Kevin Orlando Jr. next time around.
And that was a good move for Nick Alves there in the 24. He didn't give too much of a hassle to Trevor Earhart. He knew the 25 was faster. He knew there was a great a corner coming and a great passing situation. So he just kind of let him go, kept his own line and kept his own race going. But there's the 99, Dylan Walterman. He started in 8th and he's down to 11th. So just like Jason Fensler, we have a couple of these cars that qualified decently and are starting to fall back early on in this run. And there's a 38 of James Catrone. He is 15th. He started 15th, qualified 15th. So I guess for him, it's just another day at the office going through with motions and keeping his car clean. You know, towards the end of the race, some of these drivers are going to get a little racy and want to race each other a little harder for positions. And if that were to happen, he's in a great spot to just keep it clean and take advantage of whatever cars have issues. So definitely good on him for keeping it clean. But there's the 21 of Christopher Heights and the 23 Joey Stiers. This is a position for battle, believe it or not. This is for 13th, and Joey Stiers might have lost it to the 21, but not quite giving it up as we go into that final, or I'm not final, but turn 6 right here, a decent left corner, and Christopher Heights is going to have the preferred line, but Joey Stiers making a run on the outside, getting a little squirrely, so already racing, even back here in 13th, 14th position. These guys, every spot counts, even with a little bit smaller field than we're used to. Only 18 cars were signed up, but these guys racing hard nonetheless.
Yeah, Joey Stiers up to the 12th spot, 2 spots up for him. Great job in that 23 machine. But right now, the one thing I got to credit, You know, 17 drivers started this race. 17 drivers here now still completing laps out on this racing surface. And I tell you what, we're nearing that stage. The stage is going to be a lap 10. Like I said, ladies and gentlemen, we're going to see if they throw a caution. I believe they don't from past experience, but we'll see if that caution does come out. That'll really help a group of these guys. But I tell you, Carl, the attrition is what I'm waiting for to kick in. Like I said, all 17 cars still out on the racetrack. At some point, somebody will make a mistake at some point, I think, and have a major collision, and that's where you can gain positions. Drivers like James Catrone that we talked about in that 15th position, still holding 15th. You never know. He could be gaining spots just from doing what he's doing right there, you know, staying safe. So gotta watch for those type of drivers that gain positions by just keeping it on course.
And definitely, and we've been hitting on it since we've come live, is the temperature is so hot, and it's not going to decrease as we watch the 25 make a pass on the 27 of Kevin Orlando Jr. for another position. That is for 7th spot. So Trevor Earhart did not have the start he wanted. He was down there in 11th, but he is making a move for 7th position. So Trevor Earhart, our road ringer, already coming to the front of the pack. It doesn't seem to have that attrition as of yet, keeping the tires under him. And out of all these cars we've been watching, it looks like 25 is one of those cars that are better. Even through the S is really solid, not a lot of wiggling. Good entry corner, good exit corner. So 25 is going to be really on the move here with another 15, 16, 17 laps to go. We're at lap 9, so here we are, the penultimate lap until the end of this stage. And we just saw the 48 of Parker Johnston out of the bus stop going to the grass and might have bounced off the wall there a little bit. I'm not seeing too much damage, but that is the risk that this track poses. It's so it looks wide when you're racing it, or when you're looking at it, but just racing it is very narrow, and any kind of slip up, not only can you take yourself out, but you can take your competitors out as well. So good job on the 48 to keep it clean and keep it straight.
Yeah, great job by Parker there. Nothing hit there, just a little bit of a slip up into the grass, and he'll lose a few spots. But I tell you, he'll take that as it is looking pretty decent for a few of these drivers out there. Trevor Earhart, though, really the biggest mover of this race so far in that 25 machine, along with Robert Rader, who's been making up considerable ground. He's made up 3 positions as Earhart's made up 4. But right now, the field is kind of solidifying, and Brandon Colley actually was the driver with the fastest lap last time by. So right now, Mark Whitley almost matching Brandon Colley's pace, but I tell you what, he's got a sizable distance back to Brandon Colley. So that is looking good for that 6 machine when it comes to pace long run wise.
And that's definitely difficult. You're in 3rd spot, but being 4 seconds behind, you always, as a racer, you want to be pushing it. Zach, how hard is it to just keep your head cool, keep your line, and don't step over that that boundary, that edge that everyone's always on to go as fast as you can? How hard is it just keep yourself in lockdown on your line and on your marks without trying to push too hard and make a mistake?
Well, when someone's running you down, it's almost impossible. You start to focus on those type of things. But with Cedric Hunter, he's falling back right now from Mark Whitley at a considerable rate here. And actually, there it is. The caution is out for the stage there, Carl. So looks like we will have a stage caution. So Mark Whitley going to win that stage. Is Cedric Hunter going to bring it home 2nd? Is Colley going to be 3rd? We got that stage, and that's going to bring everything back together. And that tells me a few of these guys, nobody was definitely saving nothing there.
Oh, definitely not. And, we are 12 and a half minutes into this race, and we are nearly halfway done. This is ticking by like no one's business. Really, really quick laps here. These guys rolling around trying to catch up to the pace car. They also have long pace laps here. This is nearly a 2.5 mile track, so these guys are gonna take a little bit to get all racked up with this caution, with how spread out they were. Scott Kerberg down in 17th was about a minute back of the pack, so these guys are gonna take a little bit of time. I think strategy here is going to be interesting. I think we're good on fuel, but tires. Do you want to take tires, or you want track position?
Well, I think you got to take tires here, especially with the caution available here to come down and get fuel. Go ahead, put a set of tires on there. They should be good to make it to the end on fuel, and that should be the last stop of the night. Anybody think at risk that doesn't put tires on, you're taking a huge risk there. I mean, we started off, Cedric Hunter ran a 1:13.84, and he ended up running a 1:15.8 there at the end. So 2 seconds of fall off, and that's up for our top drivers up front. So if you stay out here and you try to get that track position, I think you're just going to be another chicane added to the track.
Oh, definitely. So 2 seconds of fall off in 10 laps. That is going to be definitely a huge business. But as these guys get racked up and they look like they're going to probably make some pit stops for these tires, we are going to step away just for a minute, and we will be right back for our second stage of action here at the Underdog Racing League. And we are back here at Watkins Glen International Raceway. We have just concluded stage 1 and we have gone green for stage 2 here at lap 15. 10 laps to go until the conclusion of this race. And as we're watching, you see the 6 in the lead, the 13 of Cedric Hunter in second, and there's the 5, Jason Fensler in third, making the pass on that restart on the 01 of Brendan Colley, and there's the 53 of Robert Rader there in fifth. We have seen some raciness, and there we see a little bit with Kevin Orlando Jr. mixing it up on the inside line with Parker Johnson right behind him. We have seen these guys get close and rub a little bit. This track has let these guys kind of stretch their legs and make moves, as we're seeing a move right here in turn 6 on the inside, hard on the inside, going through and getting ready for that turn 7 right-hander onto the front stretch. So these guys already, as we see a car get really, really loose there. I think that's the 27 of Kevin Orlando Jr., but he was able to save it. So that'll be another spot taken, and those are mistakes that we were talking about, Zach, that you want to be able to take advantage of if your competitors make them. And he's going to go really wide in turn 1. And that's going to be really difficult to recover from. But as he goes, he lost a little bit of time to the car in front of him, but he's still on the track and still moving.
Still moving forward as Joey Steiner's there going up the S's. I tell you what, the driver to watch out for. Back all in 13th, he made a lot of transition from the 11th starting spot. This Trevor Earhart must have had mistakes on pit road. He was dropped back all the way to 16th to start this off, and now having to come back again from a major amount of a comeback here for him, but also some damage on the left side of his car. So interesting circumstances for Trevor Earhart here on the start.
And that's what you want to avoid. You were able to get through the field. These cautions, when they bunch up the field, there's always that possibility for incident, and that's what you want to try to avoid. And unfortunately, he was unable to stay lucky in that matter and got a little bit of damage, and he's going to take a little bit wide there. But these guys are racing really, really hard, considering it only took 12.5 minutes to go 10 laps. I'm expecting probably the same pace for these cars, and now that they have all the traffic driving underneath them, they've gotten their marks down, so everyone's probably just trying to keep it loose. Looks like there was a problem with Dylan Walterman in turn 1 getting around, but that was very, very close, right in front of the 25 of Trevor Earhart, in fact. So I guess better lucky to be good sometimes, and Trevor Earhart right there was very, very lucky. Didn't contact the 99.
Oh, that was very, very close as the 99 went around. He will hop down into the corner. Trevor Earhart barely escapes that. But I tell you what, lap times and the business time is picking up. Mark Whitley, 1:13.32. I mean, that is 3/10 faster than any lap we've seen all evening. And he's opened up the gap on Cedric Hunter here. It's growing sizable. And look at this, Jason Fensler. He's making more of a charge. Maybe noticing he doesn't have to save as much tire here. He's able to push this car a little bit harder here, as he was able to get around Brendan Colley on that start. But he's up to third now, right behind this 13 machine of Cedric Hunter, as they head down the start-finish line, heading towards 1. They are trying everything in their power to run Whitley down, but his race tonight is looking pretty on fire for that 6.
And definitely the 6 is pulling away, but the 01 of Brandon Colley, towards the end of the run in stage 1, he was actually one of the faster cars putting lap times down. We did see Jason Fensler kind of fade within the first 4 or 5 laps, so this is going to be really interesting to watch, see if Jason Fensler actually saves a little bit, maybe doesn't burn his stuff up as quickly as he did in the first stage trying to catch Cedric Hunter. But like you mentioned it earlier, Zach, it's very difficult to maintain your stuff and save your stuff when you have a car breathing down your neck for a podium spot nonetheless. So especially with points being so vital at the moment. And Jason Fensler needs every one he can get if he wants to keep the 6 within striking range when the playoffs come to pass.
Oh, man, I just hit a big moment for Robert Rader as he was transitioning back onto the asphalt there from that patch of strip out there for an extension. But look at this now, Brandon Colley, he's closed the gap down. We've seen him earlier in the race be able to get by this 5 machine. He now has the pressure in the 01, putting it on here as they head down the 1. Jason Fensler. Brandon Colley into the back bumper. Jason Fensler getting a good little hit, and Colley did not mean to do that. He looks like he's going to let Fensler go, and same with Rader there, as he was not trying to get by that 5 like that.
Man, that looked like the 5 of Jason Fensler might have hit the brake just a little bit earlier to hit that turn 1, and Brandon Colley was not prepared for it at all, sending them both to the overrun, I guess, of turn 1, causing damage for both of them. But Jason Fensler maintains his 3rd position for a little bit, as hot on his heels is the 53 of Robert Rader. But Robert Rader was locking up the front right going into the bus stop and kind of missed his line just a little bit going through the carousel. Comes out nice and fine, but he lost a little bit of time to the 5. So we see there pushing too hard, locking up those brakes. That's going to wear that out and make that car just that much harder to drive later on.
Oh, it definitely will, and Rader's been doing that a few times. And man, he's sliding it right now as we're on the front bumper cam. He's trying to close it down to Fensler. He's got to worry though. He's got the 01 of Brandon Colley trying to close the gap down. A lot of damage on that 01's front end, but not enough, I think, to harm him too much here. I believe he can be able to fight still for this 3rd position, but he's going to drive back up to Fensler here. As you can see, Rader trying to get away from that 01 as they head up the S's.
And, you know, it depends on how much damage is on the front end of that 01, but it can be very difficult, especially at a road course. That front end helps with so much of that front downforce. When you brake, the whole front end of the car kind of dips down. You get that leverage, and you go through and using the air, and having that damage of the bumper could affect that car, as looks like he's not nearly as quick as he has been throughout the race. 53 of Robert Rader got by the 01, and he just cannot seem to get back up into a striking position. So that damage definitely affecting the line and the drive of that 01 machine.
Yeah, it definitely is. He's not able to close it down as much as we would have thought with the pace that's been behind the 01. But now this is going to give us a good little battle here for sure, as still Cedric Hunter back 2 seconds from Mark Whitley up front. With these 3 battling for a top 3 position is getting very, very spicy, as it's already 5 to go here, and this race is quickly dwindling away, Carl. These drivers need to get everything done here quickly, because there's not a bunch of time to gain time.
Speaking of quickly, the 01 got to the bumper of the 53. The 53 had issues getting through turn 6 and turn 7, letting the 01 get right up to him, but kind of pulls away in through the S's. The one problem spot the 53 has had through this entire race is the bus stop. This is going to be an interesting spot for the 53. Like we see there, the 13 goes through those curbs, hits it just fine, and gets through nice and smooth. But everyone else looks like going through little, not so easy for the 53. Comes out of the exit of the bus stop a little loose. The 01 in striking position again for 4th position, coming out of the carousel.
Coming out of that carousel again, trying to get the move done. The 01 of Brandon Colley dives to the inside as he goes down into turn number 7. He's going to make the move stick as he heads to turn 8. Brandon Colley is going to be ahead of the 53. Robert Rader here coming to 4 to go. Does he have enough time to run down Jason Fensler? We'll have to see. The gap is pretty sizable at the moment, but 4 laps is an eternity around this road course.
And 4 laps is not it's not a long time. This is a 2.5 mile course, but it's such a fast course. We were mentioning minute 13 laps, minute 14 laps. These guys not wasting any time getting through this course and going through. Even the elevation change seems like these cars are really hooked up well going through the S's, and even down through the carousel. We've seen the 53 get a little loose a couple times, but other than that, been smooth sailing for the rest of these drivers as we watch 13 just methodical going through that bus stop, running over those curbs. He's almost 100% over those curves. I give it a little bit of 90% with the outside tires, just a little bit off and on the track surface, and using all of that runoff to maintain that momentum out of the carousel. But with 4 laps to go, 3 seconds back, it looks like Cedric Hunter's just trying to maintain and keep holds on that 2nd position, just as we see the 5 maintaining 3rd with about a 2 second, maybe a 1.5 second gap there coming down the front straightaway. So all these guys just maintaining, knowing 3 laps to go. Really short race, kind of a sprint race, but definitely action-packed and fun to watch.
Very so action-packed for sure. 3 laps to go. Brandon Colley 4/10 quicker than the 5 of Jason Fensler. that gap is closing down for third as the gap opens up for back for fifth. I'll tell you what, Brandon Colley might be able to drive himself all the way up to the third spot. But another driver who's driven himself into a great spot, the 23 Joey Steyers. He's up from 14th up to 7th as he's got by Parker Johnson here at some point. And now he's about 6 seconds behind Loveland, but what a great run. 7 spots made up for this 23.
And that is a great run. Starting this turn when the slow trenchers are going downhill into a hard 90-degree right-hander, getting through the field on both of these starts, considering the green flag start of the race and then the restart of the stage end. It's really, that's where you want to make those moves because everyone's close together, but it's really difficult. And him being able to do that and keep his car clean on top of that has been really, really awesome to watch. But on the flip side of that coin, there's Trevor Earhart. Made some ground in stage 1, had an incident, got caught up in something, got some damage. He's fell back to 13th. He's up to 11th at the moment with a couple of cars of Nick Alves and Kevin Orlando Jr. in front of him. But he's someone who's kind of a road ringer. He knows what to do. Having issues tonight as well.
Yeah, and can confirm Trevor Earhart sped on pit road. That's what eventually led to him losing that spot. But it's James Loveland here we're looking at right now in the 6th position, right behind the 53 of Robert Rader. He's closed this gap down for a top 5 spot. It's 2 to go. Brandon Colley's lost the ground on Jason Fensler, so this is the closest battle we have on the racing circuit right now as Loveland closing the gap. He's trying to put the pressure on. Can he get it done here as Whitley? He should be closing in for that white flag here very soon.
And definitely Whitley coming through turn 6, nice and smooth. We see him go down that short little chute, take the right hand on turn 7, going through, exiting nicely, hitting all his marks with a 3-second lead. And here we are, white flag out. This is the Freaky Fast 1 to go here at Watkins Glen, the Underdog Racing League, being led by the 6th right there of Mark Whitley, followed by Cedric Hunter about 2.8 seconds back, and then Jason Fensler about 4 seconds back of Cedric. So these guys got sorted out really early, and Mark Whitley has been just able to dominate the entirety of this race. We see the 21 of Christopher Heights, a lapped car there down in the 17th position, just going to let him go and give room to that 6th car as he gets to the bus stop. And now the 6 is going through the carousel, nice and easy. We don't see any more lap traffic in front of him. So getting through these last 2 corners should be a breeze for the 6. So these guys running hard has paid off, and the 6 obviously able to just absolutely dominate this race. I think he's led all but a couple of laps here at Watkins Glen as he goes through turn 7 for the final time. Checkered flag is out and waving, and here we go. The 6 crosses the start finish line. The winner here at Watkins Glen will be the 6th of Mark Whitley. Another win for him this season. He has been on an absolute tear, not taking any prisoners, and definitely looking to widen out that points gap before the playoffs begin.
And oh man, I did come through, but man, Cedric Hunter spun it there, entering 1 on the last lap, and he drops back to 4th on the final lap. So Cedric Hunter from 2nd to 4th in 1 lap, and Jason Fensler there going to take home 2nd with Brandon Colley 3rd. So wow, what a change of events there as Mark Whitley, though, a dominating performance.
Definitely a dominating performance for Mark Whitley. He's going to definitely enjoy this kind of cool-off lap. He really had no real pressure except from the standard, the start and the restart for the stage. Was able to really almost make it look effortless, but I know that is not true. These cars are definitely a kind of a handful to handle, and this track, as hot as and slick as it was, not easy at all. Doesn't matter where you were on the race. So Mark Whitley, a well fought win there, going through the last couple of corners. He's gonna come to the front straightaway and just burn it down with the confidence of a guy who's won 5 races this season already. So definitely not hurting in the win department. Going to take all those bonus points to the playoffs. And here's a couple more for that playoff run. And he's going to burn it down right there at the start finish. Get up against that wall and just smoke him. Awesome stuff. While he's gonna go do his burnouts, we will be right back with our top 3 finishers here at the Underdog Racing League. And welcome back, race fans. We had a action-packed but quick race here at Watkins Glen, and we just saw a battle really for the third spot as the 13 to Cedric Hunter was spun out towards the end of that run, and taking his place is the 01 of Brandon Cawley. We are going to bring him into the booth here. 1 second there. Hey, Brandon Cawley, it's Carl and Zach in the booth. You were able to take advantage of some incidents from Cedric Hunter, so you were able to take that third spot. Walk us through that and walk us through what happened with that contact with Jason Fensley there towards the beginning of the stage, second stage there.
Yeah, I mean, was having a pretty decent battle for most of the race with Jason, and noticed I was able to outbrake him a little bit, and it worked pretty well in a few corners. But going down into one, the lap before, I had accidentally downshifted to first, and it was a mistake that I'd made in practice a couple times, and ended up wheel hopping it and going around. And the next lap, I was more worried about making sure I didn't do that than hitting my braking marker, and got into the back of Jason. Luckily, it didn't loop him around and pushed him wide. Made sure didn't take advantage of it, let him get his spot back, and then just focused on battling Raider there and was able to get by him. And somehow Cedric, big mistake last lap, and at least I get to talk to you guys, but sucks from a teammate.
Yeah, definitely a tough break for his teammate Cedric Turner there, Brandon. But man, a great run nonetheless. Showed a lot of good pace, even really quick there to end that first stage out, man. Do you think that damage kind of compromised you there at the end? You definitely got some nose damage from that hit to the back bumper of Jason Finsler. It seems like from there it was a little bit tougher for you to close it down.
Oh, absolutely. I noticed it pretty much right away. About the next time I went into the carousel at decent speed, it was like, man, it just doesn't turn anymore, and I had to wait a lot longer on the getting back to the gas to get a decent exit compared to what I'd had before. I think without the damage, I may have been able to get by Fensler, but he was still pretty quick and was getting closer, but just ran out of time.
Time is such an important factor on races such as this. But next week we go back to our comfort zone, Nashville Super Speedway. What are you looking forward to that race next week?
2 words: off throttle. I love the place. It doesn't have a lot of grip, and going to be a lot of off throttle time, a lot of managing your tires there, and hopefully, what I suspect from my experience there, it's probably going to be pretty loose once you get back to the throttle. So it should make for a pretty interesting race and be a driver's racetrack.
Well, we are looking forward to next week and watching that happen. Before we let you go, Brandon, anyone you want to give a shout out to tonight?
First off, thanks to you guys, Freaky Fest Broadcasting, putting on amazing broadcasts, nearly every night of the week. Going to be excited to go back and watch this one, and it's a quick one for all the fans too. Go ahead and eat your dinner, not have to stay up too late. Secondly, I gotta thank the guys here at Underdog Racing League. It's been a blast. Been back 2 races now with these guys and had a lot of fun at Kansas and here at Watkins Glen. Pretty good battles. And also, I got to thank my teammates, Category 5 Esports, Zachary Hall, Cedric Hunter, Brian Johnson, Vincent Sora, Larry Yingling, and Nick Crawford. Oh, also, Tom, the man Senchek, Mr. Luigi out there. Don't know if he's watching, but I didn't forget you either, Tom.
Well, that is good stuff, Brandon. Good luck next week, and hopefully we'll talk to you then.
All right, sounds good.
And that was the third place, the 0-1 of Brandon Colley. But here up next, the number 5, Jason Fensler. Jason Fensler, second place finish. You kind of fell off there in the first stage, but was able to do a nice recovery in the second stage. Walk us through that. What happened in that first stage? You fell back to fourth.
Yeah, I mean, I had a decent start, and then we got single filed out. Mark was behind me, and then he just kind of is a little too risky on the first lap. He kind of dove it in there, and I just let him have it. I got in there a little hot, so I went out a little wide, and then Cedric got by, and just kind of ruined my rhythm for the whole race, to be honest with you. But it's not bad. I mean, we'll take the points. All you got to do is make the playoffs. We learned that last year. What can happen in playoffs is a whole different ballgame.
Yeah, it definitely is, Jason. Still, nonetheless, a good run here tonight, man. Like you said, you talked about rhythm. This track looked pretty tough. It seems like guys could make a mistake, and that would throw them off that rhythm. How easy was it to make mistakes here tonight? It seemed like those S's were very slick.
Yeah, it was. The car it's a low grip car, so you just got to try and take care of it the best you can. If you push it and make a mistake, it could cost you a lot. So that's kind of why I fell back to third there, and then I fell back to fourth there for a little while. Just trying to make sure I kept it on the asphalt. I didn't want to cost me any more than the whole night. I'd rather just fall back a few spots, and if we can gain them back, great. If not, it is what it is. But again, a couple guys made a couple mistakes, and that gained us a couple spots back. So that's kind of what our game plan was, especially after the first lap, was just to ride and see where we end up.
And that strategy definitely worked for you today. But next week, Nashville Super Speedway. What's a strategy heading into another speedway like Nashville?
That I like that place. It's a lot of fun. It kind of races a little bit like Richmond, just because it's a little bit of called a super speedway, but it's got that short track tendency to it. So it's a lot of fun. Should be a good race. There's a lot of fast guys here, so I think it should be a good race, and it's going to be, again, taking care of that right front tire.
Always got to take care of the tires up there at Nashville. Before we let you go, Jason, anyone want to give a shout out to tonight?
Yeah, you guys on a broadcast. You guys do a great job. Friends and family tune in every week. I appreciate that. And just all the guys, and Justin and Kevin, and all the guys, the admins of the league, do a great job, and we appreciate it.
Awesome, Jason. Congratulations on second place. Hope to talk to you next week.
Sounds good, boys. Have a good one.
Again, that was our second place finisher of Jason Fensler. But here is the race winner at Watkins Glen, Mark Whitley, the number 6. Mark, that was a dominating performance today. You got out up front and you did not let it go. Walk us through how hard that was on such a slick track as it is right now.
Yeah, it was difficult. I know I really wanted to qualify on pole because I knew track position was going to be very key here. Um, got second. I was a little worried that Fensler, and he was pretty fast. So I really tried hard that first lap to get around him, and I was able to force him into a mistake going into the left-hander on the end of the back straightaway, and he went wide, and I was able to kind of get out in front of him, and that allowed me just to kind of get out there and run my own race, run the line I wanted to run like I didn't have to worry about trying to pass somebody, and I had enough of a gap behind me where I won't like too pressured where I could still run the line I wanted to, not burn myself up. I'll give a real big shout out to Cedric. He taught me a very valuable lesson at the Roval when me and him were pretty much battling there for the win. Do not burn the rear tires up on these cars at road courses because they do not come back once they're burned up. So I don't think I never let the car step out off a corner, maybe except once or twice, because I was gun ho just making sure to keep those rear tires under me. Because I knew if I could keep them under me, the pace would stay around and I could probably hold them off. And I know that first run, I was able to start slowly inching away from Cedric at the end of it, and then the second stint there, it was one lap longer, and I don't know what it was. The first couple laps, it felt like the car was way smoother. I guess it was just getting used to the fresh tires. So I was able to kind of pull away a little bit and then have even bigger gap, and just kind of ran my own race and ran the line I wanted to. Didn't burn it up. Took easy entrances, got off the corners better, and I just think all in all, everything just kind of went our way. Didn't have any hiccups or want any lap cars really to deal with. The only one I had to deal with kind of got out of my way. So it was one of those times where just everything went right.
Yeah, Mark, it definitely went right tonight for you, man. Great dominating performance, like Carl said. But man, a dominating performance here tonight. How much momentum do you think we can carry into Nashville Super Speedway next week? Another tough racetrack, one of the newer ones on the schedule.
Yeah, it's always great to have momentum coming in. Coming off a win, so you're always riding high. Um, there's not a whole lot you can transfer from a road course to Nashville. I mean, Nashville is definitely a kind of a unique oval. It's some kind of weird mix of Kentucky, Darlington, and probably Kansas. Some weird amalgamation of the three of them. Um, so it's just gonna be tough. All the whole season it's been me, Fensler, Cedric. Now Colley's in here. I mean, it's tough competition. I mean, you can't take a break. I mean, you blink and then one of these other guys will come out here and just walk the dog on you. So momentum's great, but you can't just try to use that itself. You got to put your nose to the grindstone. You got to make sure you work hard and just try to come out there and do as best you can every night.
Definitely, momentum is key, but you got to keep trying. Congratulations on the win. Anyone want to give a shout out to tonight?
Yeah, give a couple shout outs to my sponsors. First, Harpoon Design. Always do great work. This paint scheme, Robert will be glad to know I can't call it bad luck anymore since I just won with it, so he ought to be happy with that. All right, so all right, maybe it isn't bad luck. It was just it was just a fluke the first night. But harpoondesign.com if you want to get a custom made. He's also got a bunch of them on trade and paint if you want to check out what he's already got. And then Shop Angry Duck, they're one-stop shop for all your custom racewear, hats, t-shirts, hoodies, anything you can name, they can make a custom one for you. Shopangryduck.com, check them out, they're pretty cool. And big shout out to my family, always tuning in to these broadcasts. I have pretty much a league race Sunday, Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, and I'm probably soon going to be one on Saturday too. So they're always tuning in no matter what they're doing. So I always appreciate the support. And one last final shout out to the league. That was awesome. I don't hear anybody yelling at each other on the mic, which is great for road courses because usually you come to a road course, I don't care how good the league is, you're going to have two people yelling at each other's necks by lap 2, and just wasn't that kind of issue tonight. Everybody was clean. Nobody really got forced off the track, and we didn't have cautions, but I mean there was just good clean racing in the back from what my spotter was saying. And it's always great to come out to one of these road courses and have a good clean race. It's always gets to showcase all the drivers' talents. And I guess the final one to y'all guys putting on a great broadcast. It's always fun to go back and watch. I'll say it now. I've said it before. I'll keep saying it. Y'all are probably one of the best broadcasts on iRacing. So anybody, you're just one of the best, and it's always great to go back and watch.
Well, we definitely appreciate that, Mark. Congratulations on the win tonight. Sounds like you got a full plate. We'll let you go and get some rest. Good luck.
I appreciate it. Later, guys.
So that was our race winner of Mark Whitley. He's a busy guy, has the ability, he's doing a bunch of stuff, but able to dominate at tracks like this. And sounds like everyone's really looking forward to Nashville Super Speedway next weekend, Zach. And they mentioned it. It's bumpy, it's loose. These guys are going to be beating and banging like they have been. But here's the finishing order. We have Mark Whitley there, Jason Fensler, and then Brendan Cawley in your top three. Cedric Hunter falling to fourth after an incident on the last lap. Unfortunate for him. Robert Rader continuing his momentum, finishing in the top 5 position. James Loveland there in 6th. Joey Stiers in 7th from 14th. Great run for him. Parker Johnson in 8th. Nick Alves in 9th. And then Kevin Orlando Jr. rounding out the top 10. Unfortunate for Trevor Earhart, qualified 11th, finished 11th, had a speeding penalty on pit road during the stage break. So heartbreak for him. We know he's a road course ringer. But Zach, a lot of stuff to take from tonight. Some people getting the spotlight, some of them falling back. Really interesting to watch and see what happens next week in Nashville.
Oh, it definitely was. It was an interesting night. You know, Cedric Hunter there with a big mistake late. That really cost him big. But like you said, you got to look at drivers like Trevor Earhart, who really come to these road courses looking for a good run. Did not have it tonight. It seems like his season just continues to falter after winning that championship last season. But all he's got to do is get to his playoffs. He's had good enough points, races and in a season so far where he will most likely still make this playoffs. Trevor Earhart can turn it up right there at the right time. He can be right into contention with these other group of guys who've been on some type of a roll. But Mark Whitley, definitely a good job here tonight here at the Watkins Glen International Raceway. But we got plenty more broadcasts coming up here on Freaky Fast Broadcasting. As you can see, this Thursday, tomorrow night here live, we're going to have the Darlington Raceway here for Stars and Stripes Racing. And make sure you tune in for that at 9:20 Eastern. And you'll get to see some throwback racing. So, and then we got the NISCC Cup Series on off season. So they no Saturday night racing right now until they come back. But then we'll be back on Sunday, and it's going to be a fabulous time there at the MPI Cup Series. So we can't wait for all that action. As always, we want to thank you everybody for tuning in here tonight at the Underdog Racing League. It's been another great night of racing action, especially turning left and right here at the Watkins Glen International Raceway. But as we always say, God bless you all. Peace out here. We love you all here at Freaky Fast Broadcasting.